Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk.
Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
You can scour the world. You're not going to find a lot of radio programs dedicated entirely to cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Litecoin, and of course, blockchain technology that makes it all possible and in plain English that even I can understand. But by golly, you found it. It's Cryptocurrency with this guy, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell. It's so good to be back in studio doing this every single week. And yes, today is kind of a sobering day as we remember 9/11, the victims. So, I remember where I was on that day. I'm sure most of you guys do. But despite, the sadness that's attributed to that, we do have an exciting show, a phenomenal show. It's not every day, Russell, that you actually get to interview one of the most iconic names in cryptocurrency. Today we've got an individual who has given literally so much to this industry. He is often referred to as Satoshi Light. Why? Because he was the creator behind one of the earliest altcoins known as Litecoin. His name is Charlie Lee, and we'll introduce him here shortly. But on today's episode, we're going to cover topics like how will proof of work blockchains be perceived in the future? We know there's a lot of conversation around that right now. And how has Litecoin specifically been leading the way for both Bitcoin and the space at large? And finally, what can we expect from this upcoming Litecoin Summit here in Las Vegas? That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we introduce our guest today, again, I need to introduce you to my charismatic and bodacious co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, welcome back, my friend.
Matthew, thank you again and again. I do want to all friends, family, anybody affected by 9/11, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with you. You never are able to really just move past that. But again, I am all America, and I want the best for our country. And some of the best stuff that I have for you is I want to remind you listeners that we are still going to be doing our Bitcoin giveaway. It's an easy way to win $200 in free Bitcoin. So I want you to stick around because on segment 2, we are going to be sure to give away all the details that you will need for $200, which could turn into thousands, right?
Yeah.
And but let's go ahead. I want to dive right in because this guest, once again, very, very special, very, very influential and historical when it comes to cryptocurrency. He's the creator of Litecoin. He was a former director of engineering at Coinbase and is currently the director at the Litecoin Foundation. His name is Charlie Lee. Charlie, you're the creator of Litecoin, a.k.a. Satoshi Light. Can you share with our listeners why you became so fascinated with cryptocurrency and give us a little bit of background and how did the Charlie of today get where he is now?
Sure. Hey, Matthew and Eric, thanks for having me, first of all. So I've been in this cryptocurrency space for, a little over 11 years now. So it's kind of like a lifetime. So I first found about Bitcoin in early 2011. I think it was March or April of 2011 when I read an article about Bitcoin and Silk Road, which is one of the darknet marketplace back then, where you can buy anything for Bitcoin. And I really got hooked onto Bitcoin because I was kind of a small gold bug back then. I bought a lot of gold. Back then when it was in 2000 when gold was around $200 and really understood like how gold and silver is real money, how it's kept its value over time, unlike fiat currency. And when I saw Bitcoin, I really saw it as kind of like a gold 2.0. It's very similar to gold in a lot of ways, and it's better than gold in a few ways. For example, where you can send Bitcoin to anyone in the world with very low cost, and storing Bitcoin costs a lot less than storing gold. So I really just saw like the future of what Bitcoin can become, and that's how I got into this space.
I love it. Well, as one of the original altcoins in the space, what was kind of the thinking and motivation behind creating something like Litecoin? We've heard phrases like, Litecoin is the silver to Bitcoin's gold, and so many more. But I would love to hear the story directly from you.
Yeah, so I created Litecoin in October of 2011. It was kind of a fun side project I was doing. Didn't really expect much from it. So I was a software engineer at Google, so I was very familiar with programming, computer science, and understood the Bitcoin code. So I just decided to fork it and create Litecoin and kind of mess around with it, trying to make it something that is a little bit better and in terms of speed, and then also a little bit different and something that complements Bitcoin, very similar to how silver complemented gold. Right? People use silver more in everyday purchases because it was lighter and easier to use, and gold more as a store of value. So I kind of set out to create silver to Bitcoin's gold, and it didn't expect too much from it, and turned out to be hugely successful.
Well, most certainly has. And I've got to admit, I follow you on Twitter, and one of my favorite things about your Twitter account is I'm a Dragon Ball fan, and I love the image that you have displayed on your account. It's an image of the characters Goku and Vegeta actually walking together doing a fist bump, and on their shirts are the logos of Bitcoin and Litecoin. To me, I think this is a great depiction of how you actually might see the two projects complementing each other instead of competing. Can you speak to this? Because you might be the creator of Litecoin, but you're also, I would assume, a Bitcoin fan as well.
Yeah, I'm a huge Bitcoin fan. I'm a Bitcoin fan before Litecoin even existed, right? So, and I'm also a huge fan of Dragon Ball. I don't know, I assume most people don't know much about Dragon Ball, but in Dragon Ball, Vegeta started off as an enemy of Goku. They were fighting. And then eventually they became friends and really supporting each other. And this is how I kind of see what Litecoin and Bitcoin is, right? Some people think Litecoin is competing against Bitcoin, but in reality, it's not, or it's not now, right? It's more complementary. Litecoin has done stuff that Bitcoin hasn't, and people use both Bitcoin and Litecoin. I see them very complementary projects. So the image of Goku and Vegeta really kind of resonated with me, where they're both competing sort of, and also supporting each other.
Well, I think before we go to break here, we got roughly about 3 minutes, and Eric's going to queue up a question, but I think we may have to end up covering it over the next segment. But Eric, why don't you go ahead and share your thoughts?
Yeah, and so if memory serves me right, Charlie, Litecoin was responsible for implementing things like SegWit first, which eventually gave the Bitcoin community the courage to do it too. And another rumor also is that the first Lightning transaction done on Litecoin was between you and one of my favorite, Jack Mallers. If this is true, people don't really realize how much Litecoin has contributed to the cryptocurrency space just at large. I think it's amazing, and I just wanted to see when we come back if you could touch it. First of all, could you address the Jack Mallers? Was that one correct?
Yes, we did one of the first Lightning transactions, one of the first request payments transactions on the Litecoin Lightning Network. Yeah, and that was pretty big.
That's awesome. Well, when we come back, I do want to hear a little bit about, once again, the implementing that courage for the SegWit being used in the Bitcoin community too. So I do appreciate you being on here with us, especially on such a historical day here in our country. And we want to hear definitely a lot more from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're listening to this program and you want more information, maybe you want to learn, maybe you want to wrap your mind around all this, well, you can go to my website, mattj mattjmoore.com, and you can find all of our past episodes along with on every other major podcast platform there is and KRMG's website. We're literally all over the place. And I would encourage you, if you have questions, maybe you live locally here in Tulsa. I mean, we do have global listeners that listen to this program all over the place, but you can easily set up a consultation on my website, mattjmoore.com, and I'd be more than happy to not only answer questions, but kind of help you walk through this process when, hey, maybe you don't understand what it means to be in self-custody of your assets and how to do that safely. So I would be more than happy to go through all that stuff. This is what this program is for. We're here to educate. We're here to expose a whole new audience to cryptocurrency and what is going on in this space. So stay put. We're going to come right back for segment 2 with a lot more with Charlie Lee.
All right, stay tuned because we're going to learn more about Litecoin, learn more about these cryptocurrencies just writ large, and what is the future of proof of work. That's a topic that, folks who may know a little bit more about it, well, they're debating it right now, I promise you. Stick with us. This is Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. And yep, we are live on the radio waves talking about the very latest, the bleeding edge in cryptocurrencies with the people who know what they're talking about. One of them happens to be sitting right next to me. His name is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell, that's right. If you are crypto curious, you're in the right place. Yes, we are on the radio. We're one of the few shows doing such a thing, but we're all over the place. And to help me not only navigate this wonderful episode that we have today, iconic episode, but also, Eric Cooper, he's a good friend of mine, and I'd consider him iconic as well. But, Eric, why don't you let people know where they can listen to past episodes if they're curious?
Yeah, we mentioned it before. This is episode 60, and if you want to go back and you want to hear our take on what is money and anything from blockchain to recording the massive highs, our predictions for the end of 2021, you can go to Apple, Google, Spotify, or even go down to krmg.com and look at the on-demand section. You'll be able to listen to all of our past episodes. If you just hit that magical Google and you Google cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, you will find a lot of different ways. So if it is a matter of how, there's not much in your way.
And we also like to do things in person. Yes, we live in a digital world, but here in Tulsa, we also do Bitcoin meetups on the regular. So if you got your calendar, if you got something to write with, or your phone, you can put it in your phone. It's September 13th at 7 p.m. at the Welltown Brewery. And you can also go to my website, mattjmoore.com, and you can see I have a whole Tulsa section, and you can check out the links and the events and the groups. I would highly recommend getting connected with people who are like-minded in this space. But if you were wondering, how are these guys able to keep this on the radio? Sure, is there money? Is it expensive? Well, radio is part of this process, and that's why we have wonderful sponsors, epic sponsors like Get Hedge, who help us keep this show going. So, Eric, can you give our wonderful our wonderful sponsor a shout out?
Absolutely. This segment is made possible by a company called Get Hedge. Do you have a strategy to obtain cryptocurrency on a regular basis? Do you plan on automating your dollar cost averaging? What about getting all or even part of your paycheck in Bitcoin? Hedge is revolutionizing how you can get paid. Hedge also makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into crypto. Whether you're an employer or an employee, you can get started in not 1, 2, or 3, but 4 easy steps. Start getting paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. And crypto is a long-term play, so you need to start your strategy today. Hedge is here to make it easy to stack them sats month after month. What are you waiting for? Start living your life on the hedge. Check them out at gethedge.io. Matthew Moore?
Yes.
Gethedge.io.
Hey, I'm there, man. And if you guys are wondering, hey, how can I qualify for that $200 Bitcoin that you're giving away? Well, this is where we're going to give you the details. So again, it all goes back to my website, mattjmoore.com. You can scroll down to the resource section and you'll see a button that says Get Hedge. Go ahead, click that. That's right. You can sign up with Hedge and start having a portion of your paycheck allocated into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. It's your choice, and it can be literally as much or as little as you want. And here's the thing. you got to be active. You got to be actively using Hedge to qualify after you sign up. So keep that in mind. And when using Hedge, what's really cool is you skip the exchange process altogether, and you can put it directly into a wallet that you control. So, and guess what? To sweeten the deal, Hedge is going to throw something special in. Through the entire month of September, anybody who signs up and chooses to auto-convert a minimum of $40 will receive an additional $10 in Bitcoin. So, again, go to my website, mattjmoore.com, and you can get all hooked up. If you got questions, you can message me. But let's go ahead and take Charlie Lee out of this conversational mempool and get this interview back up and going.
And once again, if you are just now joining us, we have Charlie Lee, and he is the creator of Litecoin. Charlie, right before we went to break, I kind of brought up once again that Litecoin was responsible for implementing things like SegWit first, and really emboldened the Bitcoin community to do it also. And then also, with people not realizing that Litecoin has contributed to the crypto space in large. I think it's amazing with just the history on this. So would you mind sharing a little bit about, how that all happened and your thoughts behind it?
Sure. Let me correct you on one thing first. So Litecoin actually activated SegWit first. It was actually implemented on Bitcoin by Bitcoin developers. So what we did was we were able to activate it on Litecoin first to show how safe it is. And to step back a little bit, let's talk a bit about what SegWit is and why it's important.
Absolutely.
So SegWit actually is a technology that makes it possible to, one thing is scale Bitcoin to allow more transactions. And the second thing is to fix something called transaction malleability. This is sort of a bug with Bitcoin originally. And this fix actually allows for Lightning Network to function as it does today. Without this fix, Lightning Network will be a lot more harder to implement and more cumbersome to use. So it was kind of a required upgrade for Lightning Network. And what Lightning Network is kind of, I see it kind of similar to if you think back on the days of gold and silver used as money, introduction of gold certificate and silver certificate. So it's kind of like a second layer on top of the base layer, which for gold, it's just using gold and silver coins. So because that was cumbersome, people put their gold and silver into banks, and banks give them a certificate to withdraw gold. And then people started using those certificates as money, right? They would trade those paper money as if it's real gold and silver. And occasionally you would go to the bank and request withdrawal of the actual gold and silver using that certificate. So similarly with Bitcoin, what Lightning Network does is lets you move Bitcoin around to people without actually doing on-chain Bitcoin transactions. So it can be much lower in fees, much faster. And when you do a on-chain transaction to actually get the Bitcoins out of the Lightning Network, that's very similar to how people would take gold certificate, go to the bank and withdraw gold. So Lightning Network makes Bitcoin easier to use. So the difference between Lightning Network and my example of gold certificate is that with Lightning Network, you can't remove that backing. Whereas with gold certificate, you can, and that's how fiat money came about, right? So that's a big difference.
Yeah, and these segments, they blow by so fast here. We got about 1 minute before we go to break. But here's the thing: I know we got more to cover with Litecoin, especially when it comes to privacy and the new things that are happening with Litecoin. Definitely want to get to that. But just real quickly, Charlie, we're going to talk about this as we continue on. But if somebody was curious to find out more about Litecoin, where's the highly recommended place for them to go?
Litecoin.net would be a great place to go. This is the Litecoin Foundation website, which tells you everything about Litecoin, where to get it, merchants and everything. So definitely check out Litecoin.net.
Awesome. Well, guys, we got more to cover with Charlie Lee about Litecoin and the developments around privacy. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
Yep, we're only halfway done. Got a lot more to talk about, and I'm just curious, and maybe you guys could to talk about this a little bit. What is the big difference between Bitcoin and Litecoin? Because I'm a total noob, as you well know. And that's what's kind of going through my brain right now is, okay, do I need both? Should I have both? Sounds to me like there are fundamental differences, like there are between silver and gold. Anyway, we got a lot more to talk about. And first, we got to get you filled in on the news. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 1023 KRMG Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name's Russell Mills. Appreciate having you here. We mentioned it earlier, but if you're just joining us, if you've ever missed an episode, and this is episode number 60, kind of a little milestone for us, well, you can find them all, except, of course, the infamous missing episode. Yeah, the rest of them are all right there at krmg.com or on the KRMG app. You can also find them on iTunes, Spotify. I mean, if you got a place to go listen to podcasts, you'll find Cryptocurrency with this guy, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, we're back in the saddle, ready for some more action, more wonderful conversations with our guest. But before I bring our guest back on, Eric Cooper, my co-host, here is with me just about every Sunday.
We try to be here always.
Yeah, we try to make the most out of it. But we have a blast doing this, and today is no different, really. I mean, we've been having a wonderful conversation with the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee. He is also the director at the Litecoin Foundation, so he's got a lot to say, and he's actually contributed a lot to this space, cryptocurrency space, to say the least. But I wanted to start back off with this question. But, when we went last segment, before we went to break, we were talking about kind of the ways that Litecoin has been leading the way when it comes to these new developments in the space and adaptations in general. Recently, there's been some big developments around privacy on Litecoin. Charlie, welcome back to the show. Can you please share with the audience what is going on with privacy and Litecoin?
Sure. So I remember when I first found about Bitcoin, I saw that as a better version of gold. But the only, I would say the only thing that Bitcoin is missing is fungibility in terms of being great sound money. So fungibility means that every Bitcoin is exactly like every other Bitcoin. So when you're spending the coin, there's no, you're not giving away any privacy, and there's no history attached to the coin. So people would accept each coin as any other coin. And that's something that's missing in Bitcoin and Litecoin. Fungibility and privacy is kind of needed for fungibility, because without privacy, people can see a history of a coin when you're sending them coins, and they can decide not to accept your Litecoin as money because of it didn't like where it came from. So this is something that we're working hard on to address, to make Litecoin more fungible and also more private. And recently we activated a new upgrade to Litecoin, which is called MWeb, which adds a new privacy fungibility technology to Litecoin. And it's been very successful so far. Yeah.
So is absolute privacy needed in order to secure the future fungibility of the space? How do you maintain some of the benefits of Bitcoin and Litecoin's blockchain and have complete privacy also? Is it just a balanced approach, or will projects like Monero still be used?
I think that there are trade-offs. So is absolute privacy needed? For some people, yes, right, depending on what you're using the money for. So for the extreme example is if you're a criminal and you want to use money privately, then absolute privacy is obviously needed, and that's what really money should be, right? So money should be fully fungible. For it to be good money, it should be fully fungible and fully private. Whether or not it's needed for the average person, probably not. So what kind of privacy you really need is just to make it so that when you're sending a payment, the recipient can't easily figure out how much money you have in the bank. And unfortunately, this is the case right now. If you're sending Litecoin or Bitcoin to someone, it's very easy for the recipient to figure out how much money you actually have, or to take a good guess at how much money you have. And for example, if you bought like 10 Bitcoins from an exchange and then use that to send to buy coffee, the other end could see that you actually bought 10 Bitcoins and definitely have 10 Bitcoins in your name. So that's not good for financial privacy. I think financial privacy is a right that everyone should have. You should be able to spend your money without fear of someone knowing how much money you have or how much you got paid. And that's something we're trying to address, and that's what MWeb gives us. Enough privacy and fungibility that for most people would be great to have.
Yeah, so the privacy feature on Litecoin is a optional feature. Is that correct?
That's correct. So it's kind of like a second layer similar to Lightning Network. You can move coins from the regular Litecoin network to what we're calling the MWeb part of it. Once coins are there, there's more privacy and there's more fungibility. And then you can always move the coins back when you need to.
Yeah, and what's great about what's going on with Litecoin is, Litecoin is a proof of work blockchain, just like Bitcoin. And yes, the supply of Litecoin is larger than Bitcoin's. It's 84 million supply cap. And there's a lot of features that, resemble a lot in Bitcoin as well. But here's the question that I have for you, Charlie. I find that, proof of work is actually really good, whether it's Bitcoin or Litecoin, when it comes to a fair money system. When dealing with the creation of money, I find that proof of stake blockchains will probably exist for different reasons, but I feel their functionality is flawed when you're creating a fair money system. What is your take on this, and what kind of future do you see unfolding for proof of work?
Yeah, so I totally agree with your take. So when Bitcoin first came out in 2009, 2010, the real innovation is proof of work, right? So proof of stake already existed way before Bitcoin. The idea of proof of stake is nothing new. The idea of proof of work is what is innovative about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And the reason being that proof of stake, I believe proof of work is more fitting for fair money because it's more decentralized. Proof of stake, basically whoever's in stake kind of controls the system. And that in the end, to the extreme, it's no different than what we have right now, right? So whether or not proof of stake can stay decentralized is something that we'll find out. But definitely proof of work is something that will definitely be decentralized and will stay that way. So yes, proof of work has a bigger electricity usage, but it's for good reason. I think the cost of the network is high because of for the network to stay decentralized and censorship resistant.
So when we talk to folks like yourself, and you've been in the space for a long time, you've seen a lot, right? You've seen a lot of the evolution of the cryptocurrency space. How have you viewed that evolution, and what's different today versus kind of when you first got in?
I guess the major difference is when I first got in, to me, it was super risky. There's no guarantee that Bitcoin will succeed, even the idea that Bitcoin will actually work. And it was totally new, totally unsure, totally untested. But after 10 plus years, I think we've gotten to a point where Bitcoin is inevitable, right? Everyone's seen how it works, and it will stick around. I would say it's close to 0% chance that it will die. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah, and just like Russell had mentioned earlier, for somebody who is like completely new to this space, maybe they're hearing this show for the first time. They've heard the word Bitcoin. Now they're hearing Litecoin. They're hearing about all these wonderful developments that have taken place on Litecoin. You are the creator of Litecoin. You're also a fan of Bitcoin as well. You're a fan of proof of work for fair money. In your own words, how would you describe to somebody, the differences between Bitcoin and Litecoin? Should they own both? How should they approach this?
I think people new to the space should spend more time reading and learning about cryptocurrency, about different coins, what's special about the coin, what's special about Bitcoin, what's special about Litecoin, what does it add to the ecosystem, why is there value? There are a lot of projects out there that have good marketing, but there's actually no substance, right? So stay away from those, and a lot of times it's hard to spot them. So that's why I recommend reading more about it and really learning what's special about cryptocurrency. And because a lot of the projects that don't actually add value, in the end, they're more of like a Ponzi scheme where new entrants pay off the people who have the coins previously, and that's not good. So you want a project that actually adds value, and it's good for everyone actually involved.
So you guys are really focused on education with the Litecoin Foundation. Do you guys spend a lot of time educating people on matters like this? What's the main mission and focus of the Litecoin Foundation?
The main mission is to support Litecoin and cryptocurrency in general in terms of development and adoption. Pushing for adoption is very important, and education is definitely important, and that's why we hold annually the Litecoin Summit, which is coming up. It's a place where we have a lot of speakers to talk about everything Litecoin and cryptocurrency related for people to learn and have fun. And I think this is that's one big push the Litecoin Foundation does every year to help Litecoin and cryptocurrency.
I love it. I love it. Well, and if they wanted to get tickets or find out more about the conference, can you share with the audience once again how they can find that stuff?
Yeah, so visit the Litecoin Summit website. It's litecoin.net/summit. You can find out everything about the Litecoin Summit. It's happening October 21st and 22nd in Las Vegas this year. And be sure to use my discount code. You get 20% off tickets, and the code is Satoshi Light. So same as my Twitter handle. Just type in Satoshi Light for promo code, and you get 20% off tickets. And if you buy tickets with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and Litecoin, you already get a discount. I believe it's about a 10% discount. So you get 20% on top of 10%. So be sure to check that out, and it'd be awesome for everyone to come to the Litecoin Summit.
That's awesome. Well, me and Eric, we're definitely going to be there along with the guys from Hedge. We look forward to, just meeting everybody and having a great time and learning. So again, that promo code is Satoshi Light. And we would encourage you guys, check it out. Go to the website that he mentioned and get plugged in, and we'll have a great time.
And I'd just like to make sure everybody knows that light is spelled Lite in this case. Yes, there is a new form of spelling that word, and it's actually fairly ubiquitous these days. So Satoshi Light, Lite, Litecoin, Lite. So if you're entering those codes, make sure you spell it right. Hey, quick timeout. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. One episode 3 of that, or episode 1 of something else. Really fun. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Good job. Because if you're curious about the world of cryptocurrencies and blockchains and Bitcoin and Litecoin, boy, did you come to the right place. Because not only do we have a little knowledge on that, I say we, meaning these guys over here, but we know how to put it into English that you can understand and, dip your toe into the world before you just dive into the ocean, right? Let's give our beach tour guide a shout out. Yo, Matthew J. Moore.
Hey,
how's it going, man?
And I'm doing good. We have a blast every Sunday, and we love to talk about cryptocurrency. And yes, we know a little bit, but guess what? We like to bring some of the world's best speakers, thinkers, talent in this space to really speak on subject matters that matter. And today, it's no different. And with me is my co-host, Eric Cooper, and we've been talking with Charlie Lee. Eric, are you ready to close out this show strong?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm always here to just make sure that that people get educated. And that's why having folks like Charlie is just terrific.
Yeah, well, if you didn't know, Charlie Lee is the creator of Litecoin. He's also the director of the Litecoin Foundation, and he has really made a buzz in the space. But Charlie, I wanted to give you this last segment. I mean, we're going to talk about a couple things, but this one goes by pretty fast. But I wanted to give you the floor and have you just speak to this, okay? I know that there's a lot of noise in this space, but what is the biggest misconception about Litecoin, the cryptocurrency, that you would like to clear up?
Good question. A lot of noise these days is around something I did. I was like, what is this, 4 or 5 years ago? Back then, I decided to sell all the Litecoins I had because I thought it was kind of clouding my judgment. And I want Litecoin to succeed, not just because I want to make myself more money, right? I wanted Litecoin to succeed in spite of what happened to the price. So I decided to sell all my coins. And a lot of people hear that news and think that I sold out and I basically quit. But that's far from the truth, right? So I'm still working on Litecoin. The whole time since then, I'm spending time and money on Litecoin. And one misconception people have is Litecoin is different from a coin, for example, like Ethereum, where there's a pre-mine, right? With Litecoin, it's a very fair cryptocurrency. I had launched it, pre-announced it, and everyone had a chance to mine it from the beginning. So the Litecoins I had was not that many, and I got them by mining and buying off an exchange. I didn't just print them out of thin air to give to myself. So that's very different from most other coins out there. So so selling is my prerogative, and it didn't really affect anything in terms of my kind of my focus is still on Litecoin. Right? So that's one kind of big misconception people have, and something I like to clear.
So what is your future goal and mission for Litecoin, and how do you see it growing in adoption as we move forward?
Yeah, so the goal is always for me to push for more adoption of Litecoin, so more wallets, make it easy for people to use, and the MWeb, it falls right under that to make Litecoin more fungible, more private, and just better money, right? So one example is last year, BitPay, the largest crypto processor, merchant processor company in the space, where they will make it easy for merchants to accept cryptocurrency and convert it straight to US dollar or any other fiat currency for the merchant. BitPay added Litecoin last year, and right now Litecoin is up to, I think, 23% of all usage of BitPay, and it started at 0 and just kept on creeping up, and it's second to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still about 50% of all usage. Litecoin is 22%. Ethereum is a lot less than that, and there are a few other coins. So as we can see, Litecoin is really a coin that people use for payments, and that's great to see. It's just easy to use, and it's good sound money, and that's what we're trying to strive for.
Well, one of the most important things about this space is getting together with people who are like-minded, who are learning, who are growing, who are fascinated and excited about this space. And that's why we push our meetups here locally. But just one more time, Charlie, for those who might just be tuning in once again, where can they check out the Litecoin Summit?
Yeah, so it's litecoin.net/summit. You can also follow Litecoin Foundation on Twitter. The handle is at LTC Foundation. And of course, you can also follow me at Satoshi Light on Twitter for more information about the summit. We have lots of great speakers. For example, John Bollinger of Bollinger Bands fame is coming to speak about trading. He's been trading Litecoin for many years now, and it'll be very cool to hear what he has to say about cryptocurrency, trading cryptocurrency and trading Litecoin. We have tons of great speakers coming. So, and it would be just cool to hang out with crypto people, like-minded people, to talk about crypto and what else is going on in this space.
I love it. Well, this has been a wonderful show. Charlie, thanks so much for joining us. This has been a wonderful conversation. I can't thank you enough. And I actually look forward to meeting you in Las Vegas for the Litecoin Summit.
And if you'd like to meet up with some Tulsa folks, don't forget the Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup, September 13th. That would be 2 days from now. So, that's Tuesday. 7 p.m. They'll be at Welltown Brewery. And if you need more info at that, MattJMoore with 2O's.com is your source for info. And, of course, way more information than we can even put into an action-packed radio hour. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.